welcome to another Mission Shakeup. I'm your host, Rebecca Lindhout, the Adult Ministries Consultant for WMU of North Carolina. And I am just going to hit the ground running because we are coming up on such a special time in the life of the North American Mission Board, and that is the week of prayer for the North American Missions Offering. And for the North American missionaries. And so this year's theme is United. And if you go online to NorthAmericanMissionBoard.org, I believe, you can find all of the resources that I'm talking about. Most of them are downloadable. I think the time to actually receive these things in the mail, if you would like a DVD or a prayer guide, those are still available through WMU of North Carolina. But we do have a limited supply. But all of the other materials, all of the videos that are in the DVD, all of that is available online. So I do hope that you will take advantage of all the resources that they have. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about today. We're going to be going through these resources and just talking about, like I said, how do we taste, touch, smell, and hear what North American missionaries are doing in the world. So that's going to be what we focus on today, but just a couple of quick announcements. We are now in the month of March, so we are just a month away from our missions extravaganza. And so I want to show you a quick video of the speaker, Valerie Shepherd. Valerie is the daughter of Jim and Elizabeth Elliott, who are very famous missionaries. If you grew up in the 50s, you probably heard those names. Jim and Elizabeth served in Ecuador. And so I'm going to show you the video about Jim and his ministry partners as a promotion for our mission extravaganza that is April the 22nd and 23rd. And we really do hope you'll join us. So join us for this video, and then we'll circle back.
One day, Nate and Ed flew over Auca territory and spotted Auca houses. The desire to reach these people united these men and their families together in a common purpose. Nate devised a way to drop a bucket from a long line in the airplane. In this way, they were able to give gifts to the Aucas and later receive gifts in return. One day, Nate spotted a sandbar he thought he could land on, and they made plans for face-to-face contact. The term Auca is Quechua for naked savage. It shows just how isolated the tribe was, for at that time, no one knew the tribe called themselves Waodani. They were the most violent society ever documented by anthropologists. 6 out of every 10 adult Waodani deaths were from homicide. Love drove the missionary families to go to whatever length they had to in order for the Waodani to hear about Jesus Christ. Jim Elliot wrote in his journals, "He is no fool who gives what he cannot keep to gain that which he can never lose." On Sunday, January 8th, the men were at the sandbar they named Palm Beach, and Nate was to make radio contact with Marge at 4:30. The contact never came.
So that is quite a cliffhanger, and the story of what happened to those men, and it really was the catalyst for a missions revival in North America and international missions. And so I really hope she is just a superstar of the missions world, and her story is amazing. The story of her mother, who went on to be a prolific writer and also a missionary, and then Valerie herself has been a missionary and writer. So we are very, very blessed, and we really feel like this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for many of us, and we hope that you will join us. Again, that is April 22nd and 23rd. All right, so jumping on to our prayer guide for North American missions. I want to encourage you this month, when you are planning your missions program. Maybe it's this month, maybe you want to do it in April, because the Annie Armstrong Easter offering is the offering that supports North American missionaries. So that's missionaries in the United States, that's missionaries in Canada, that's also missionaries in Puerto Rico. And so we want to make sure that they are well prayed over and well supported. And Annie Armstrong Easter offering does that. And Annie Armstrong is she was not a missionary, but she was a famous lady in WMU who worked to support missions in North America. And basically what she did was she wrote thousands of letters to churches across North America, asking them to give to North American missions. And so she is very famous for her letter writing, and so the Easter offering for North American missions was named in her honor. And so this month, like I said, our theme is united, and we can be united in prayer in a time when our country seems to be just split in two in some ways. Here is something that can unite us all, and that is the Great Commission and support of our missionaries who are serving as ministers of the Great Commission. And so we have a prayer guide, and so I'm actually going to start with day 2. But first I want to tell you about what I'm proposing that you do at your next meeting, or maybe you want to have a special night. I would suggest doing a dinner or a taste and see, or a tasting tour of North American missions, however you want to name it. It's a way, I would start off maybe by setting up tables for each one of the missionaries on our guide and for each place that they're in, and having something to see, taste, touch, smell, or hear at each station. Or maybe you want to do more than one thing at each station. But this is a way to pray through this, but also when we taste and we smell and we touch the things that remind us of these places, we are creating memories. And it also makes the people and the missionaries more real to us. And we can imagine what they are going through. We can imagine ourselves in that place a little bit better when we are engaging all 5 senses. And so today I'm just going to walk you through a few ways that I suggest that you might set up those tables, that you might experience each missions couple or missionary as we walk through. So when we start on day 1, maybe this is how you would start off your presentation as you introduce your prayer night of prayer and taste, touch, and smell. Day 1, it says 275 million people are estimated to be lost in North America. That's men, women, young adults, and children. Among that population is more than 40 million people living in the United States who were born in another country. That's about 1/5 of the world's migrant population, more than any other country. So the truth is, America and North America are not really a melting pot. We're more like a salad bowl, aren't we? Because as people come into our country, they bring their own cultures and traditions that stand out. And we don't all just meld into one culture. We come together with all of our uniqueness, but also with all of our lostness. And so that is what we want to focus on. So day 2, we are focusing on Michael and Tracy Bird. Their videos are available in our DVD set. it's just one DVD, but in our DVD that we can mail to you. But you can also find that their video on at North American Mission Board. So that's something that you could see. They are in St. Louis, so maybe you want to have the arch, a picture of the arch, or maybe you want to, there's lots of places around St. Louis that are pretty famous. So any one of those you could pick to have a picture of. Also, I would have the prayer guide at each station set to the day that they're praying for the family that you're praying for. And so we've got Michael and Tracy Bird, who are in St. Louis, Missouri, and it says that they are serving the abandoned, and they are working in a community that much of the world has very much given up on. And they are in the inner city of St. Louis, an area that they both grew up in but then moved out of. They came back to minister to those people. So I think that is such a special thing. And I love that Tracy looked around and said, what is the need around us? And she realized that there was a need to really teach women about the basics of life, like cooking. And so she said, we didn't need a food pantry, we needed cooking classes so that they could make their food stamps go further. And so one of the things that she did was have a cooking class, and she says in her longer article in your Missions Mosaic, which you will which I hope that you will have with you as well, is that she teaches like how to break up a pack of chicken and use one day for a chicken pot pie and another day for chicken pasta and another day for chicken strips and with a chicken salad. And so so that's how she gets innovative in reaching her neighborhood, is through these high poverty neighborhoods. Many of the people are on food stamps, and they need to stretch their dollar and their food stamps very far. And so right here I've got my Lean Cuisine, or Healthy Choice, grilled chicken pesto with vegetables pasta salad. But I'm going to have a recipe of one of my favorite pasta salads online, if you feel inclined to actually cook. That will be just a really tasty recipe to remind us of the kinds of things that she's doing and the kinds of things that she's teaching folks. And she says, all people have the same heart condition in small towns and in the big urban centers. We all need the same Jesus. So we're going to pray at our table for the Birds to have wisdom and creatively reaching their neighbors. We're going to pray for open hearts to the gospel through Faith Community Bible Church. So you've got the option of chicken pasta, you've got the option of watching the video for them for the day, and you've got the option of also sharing with them some of the statistics and some of the pictures of St. Louis and all that's going on there, and the ministry of the Birds there. So this day 3 is Itamar Elizalde, and she is bringing hope in the wake of the storms. And she is in Puerto Rico, and it just seems like they say in our Missions Mosaic, they say it in the prayer guide, and they say it in the video. It's just the country that cannot catch a break. And so they've had hurricanes, they've had a pandemic, and they've had earthquakes. So every time they recover from something, another thing is hitting them. But here's the thing, is that God wastes nothing, right? He turns beauty from ashes, right? And so she says, the Lord has used tragedy to awaken the hearts of many on the island who previously placed their hope in money, health, and stability, and can now see how fleeting it all is in light of the solid rock hope found in the gospel. And so she is very, very busy as the coordinator for North American Mission Board's Sin Relief ministry in Puerto Rico. So she's organizing people who are coming into the country to serve there, maybe in construction ministry, maybe in children's ministry, whatever ministry it might be. She is the person that everybody goes through to get their job. And so we want to pray for her, but there are quite a few food options for Puerto Rico, because Goya, the Goya brand, is made in Puerto Rico. It was founded by a Puerto Rican family, and then later sold, but it is still manufactured most of the items in Puerto Rico. So this is a great opportunity to not spend a lot of money and still have a cultural experience. Goya juice, this is passion fruit. Passion fruit juice, Goya salsa. So we just had a group in, and I was kind of doing a mission shake-up with them, and they tried the mild Goya salsa with chips. There is all kinds of beans and rice options made by Goya, and cookies made by Goya. I think they're called Maria cookies. Where did I put those? Oh, well, anyway, they're called Maria cookies, and they taste kind of like graham crackers, and they're available in chocolate too, I think. And that one, I think for a little pack of those cookies, it cost me like 59 cents. So it is a pretty cheap way for people to have that taste and that immersion in the taste and smells of Puerto Rico. I also have a recipe for Puerto Rican beans and rice for you, so that will be available on our Mission Shake-Up page. So our day 4 missionaries are Jared and Jennifer Huntley, and they are deployed for Christ, it says, and they are in Washington, D.C., and their ministry is focused on the military in D.C. And Jared is a former soldier in the Army, and in your Missions Mosaic, it tells you a little bit more about his story, about how he suffered with PTSD, and how it really opened their hearts to the need for ministry to servicemen and women. And so they are discipling and equipping military personnel and their families to follow Christ, share the gospel, and be missionaries if they are moved to other bases or deployed. Jared says it's a great way to accomplish the Great Commission. So they are teaching the military families that they minister to live sent. Because these military families are moving every 2 to 3 years, and if they move with a great passion for Christ, they can be the new missionaries, the new church planters, the new voice for Christ in their community. And so it is a very important mission that they are doing. And continue to pray for them. If we are thinking about taste, touch, smell, could you have an American flag at that table? What could be an American taste? Well, maybe you are a really good cook, baker. I'm not a baker, but so maybe you would have apple pie. What's more American than apple pie? Or chocolate chip cookies, and have a Coke or a Pepsi. Those things are all very American tastes and smells. But also maybe one of the visitors that came today when I was going through the shake-up with them, they suggested getting the military rations, and that might be available on Amazon. I'm not sure, or you might have to go to a military surplus store. But what a neat thing for your group to unpack and taste and touch those ration kits. So be in prayer for Jared and Jennifer Huntley, and that is day 4. Their video is also again available online, so that's another visual. Okay, let's see. Next is day 5 on the other side of your guide. Day 5, and this is the family that is on the front of your Missions Mosaic. And this is Stephen and Cindy Martins, and they are in Canada. They are in the Niagara area of Canada in a place called St. Catharines, and it has a high migrant population. And so it says, in the area where they live, the Niagara region of Canada, 80 to 90% of the population of 400,000 doesn't believe in God. Since planning Sevilla Chapel in 2019, Stephen and Cindy have been strategically and intentionally going door to door in the city of St. Catharines. They've been sharing, and people are listening. And so they have this church of Seville. Let's see, let me make sure that's right. I believe it's Sevilla Chapel. And so the interesting thing about their church is that the services are done in English and in Spanish. So maybe not have a taste at that station, or maybe you do. Maybe you could use one of the other Latin American Goya products at that table to kind of immerse yourself in the Latin American culture. But maybe you could go have your computer set up so that the people at that table could watch part of a service from Sevilla Chapel. They have a website online, and you can actually watch the service, and it's really neat because Stephen says something in Spanish, and then he has a translator who translates it in English. And so it's a very interesting service. I've never been in a service like that before when I was listening to it the other day, but it's a really special thing. So you've got two site options for them. You can go to their website, or you can go to North American Mission Board and watch their video. Also, one thing that would be really great for showing for them is there is a video on the North American Mission Board of a family who moved to their area and go to their church, and how Sevilla Chapel and the ministry there of the Martins have just how it transformed their lives. So look out for that video as well. It's really neat. Okay, moving on to day 6, we've got Brianna McKinney. She is a journeyman minister, and she is in Denver, Colorado. And she is, it says, the chances are slim the gospel will make it into their personal space. The city has only one evangelical church for every 32,000 people. So they have one brewery for every 7,000 people, and they have one marijuana dispensary for every 2,000 people. So it tells you how skewed the priorities and how lost and hurting the city is. And so it says so that really gives us some perspective. And so through the ministry center where she serves as a journeyman, she is reaching out to a nearby refugee school, ministering to the homeless, mobilizing teams of student volunteers, and doing food distribution to families. So she is very busy ministering there, and God is moving through Brianna in Denver. So how can we give people a taste or a touch or a smell of Denver? Well, you know, you've got the mountains, so you could have some pictures of the mountains of Colorado. I mean, not Colorado, of Denver. You could also what I looked up, what food is Denver famous for? Well, they're famous for the Denver omelet, and I know you don't want to make 20 individual omelets, but you could make a quiche or a casserole with the same ingredients that are in a Denver omelet, and it would be mighty tasty. So make a Denver omelet, show them what she is doing through the North American Mission Board, and pray for Brianna McKinney. And we thank God that she has given up these 2 or 3 years of her life in journeyman to serve God. Okay, so last but not least are Amer and Vicky Safadi in Cincinnati, Ohio, and it says they are teaching the gospel in their heart language. So they are originally from the Middle East, and they moved to Milwaukee, and then God sent them from Milwaukee to Cincinnati, Ohio, to start an Arabic-speaking church. And it says within 3 months of planning the church, they had 55 Arabic-speaking people from 8 countries and new people coming through its doors each week. So a church of 55 within 3 months amongst an Arab culture is really it's really a God thing that happened, because we know that many in Arabic-speaking countries are Muslim, and to become a Christian is to completely cut yourself off from your family, because usually your families really kick you out of the family if you become a Christian. And so to know that 55 people joined them in ministry within the first 3 months is definitely a God thing, and God is moving within their church. But one of the things that in their video Vicky speaks of is that when you're in the Middle East at tea time, it's a very welcoming culture, and it would not have been unusual for her to go to any woman's house at any tea time and be welcomed in the doors. And so just getting through the doors of the people of the people's homes. Getting invitations is really hard in America, and that's been a cultural adjustment for them. And so they have been live streaming, but they also go door to door each week, inviting people to the church and trying to arrange meetups at coffee shops and things like that amongst the Arabic speaking people in Cincinnati. So let's remember to pray for Amer and Vicky Safadi as they continue to be creative in their outreach and ministry. And it says, pray for the Arabic language church in Cincinnati to continue to grow in reaching its city and beyond. So that's our last missionary family or missionary for North American Mission Board. But I do have some suggestions for them as well. You could have a coffee bar or a tea bar. And you would want to pick cinnamon spice black tea. For a spiced tea is the very common amongst Arabic cultures, and so you could just have maybe a carafe, I guess you say, that has hot water in it, and have it set up with things for tea like sugar or creamer with it. You could have instant coffee, like a dark instant coffee that they could make, because Turkish coffee is very popular amongst Arabic speaking countries. Maybe you could show a video of someone making Turkish coffee at that table, because that is a really interesting thing to look at as well. So maybe a coffee bar, or maybe just have turmeric or a curry is a very common spice amongst Middle Eastern countries. Maybe just have that in a bowl and let them smell and feel that, see the color, feel the texture of it. It is very different and but very, very popular amongst Middle Eastern cooks. So there you have it. There is your taste, and then you also have the video that you can show for them. But maybe the most fun thing that you could do is at that table, or sometime during your North American missions moment with your group, is let them hear Arabic praise and worship. It is such beautiful music, and just to know that the language sounds so different, the style of singing is so different, and yet our God is the same. And so that would be a great way to hear what's going on in the church with the Safayids. So there you go. You've got lots of choices, and I am getting actually pretty hungry just smelling all of this. I'm going to have some chips and salsa and chicken casserole later. But I hope that you will really focus this month on how to bring your prayer guide to life. I will have the prayer guide and taste, touch, and smell suggestions with it on our monthly mission shakeup page, and I hope that you will join us next month. Remember to register for Missions Extravaganza, and don't forget to give to the Annie Armstrong Easter offering. See you next month.
حنانك ده يوفيك، ولو قدرت أجيب لك حاجة وأهديك، مملكش غير قلبي اللي ساجد عند رجليك. كان نفسي ربي كل الدنيا أجيبها ليك، لكن ما كانش يوصد حنانك